Somewhere on a white beach under a lonely palm tree, there is a wooden chest packed with gold. There is a map folded and stained, and on that map there is an X. You have seen this picture your entire life. It is one of the most famous images in the world, and it is almost completely made up. Across the entire golden age of piracy, historians can point to roughly one confirmed case of a pirate actually burying his treasure. One. So what did thousands of pirates actually do with some of the richest hauls in history? The answer is stranger than any map. They laundered it. To understand why, stop picturing a pirate as an adventurer. Start picturing him as a thief with a storage problem. It is 1712, and you are a pirate in the Caribbean. Your crew has just seized a Spanish merchant ship. You pry open the hold, dreaming of gold. What you find is cocoa. Tons and tons of cocoa beans. Because this was the reality of most prizes. Not coins, but cargo. Tobacco, sugar, timber, barrels of salted fish, and bolts of plain cloth. And bulk cargo is a terrible thing to steal. Cocoa molds in a damp hold. Tobacco spoils. Timber is worth pennies a plank. Every day you carry it, you sail slower, sit lower in the water, and feed 100 hungry men who signed on for riches. A prize you cannot sell is not treasure. It is dead weight that eats. But suppose you do strike gold. Suppose the hold glitters with pieces of 8, silver bars, and church plate bound for Spain. Congratulations, your problem just got worse. Royal cargo was identifiable. Silver bars carried mint stamps. Church silver was engraved. Coin shipments were counted and recorded in manifests before they ever left port. Spend one marked coin in the wrong tavern, and word travels. The Navy no longer has to find you. It simply follows the money back to your neck. A chest of stolen gold was not wealth. It was a beacon. And every man aboard knew what waited at the end of that signal. A short rope and a long drop. Which is why the most important places in the pirate world were not hidden coves. They were busy ports with paperwork. Port Royal, Jamaica. By the 1660s, it is one of the richest towns in the Americas, and visitors call it the wickedest city on earth. Nassau in the Bahamas. By 1716, it is a failed colony reborn as a pirate republic, a flea market for stolen goods. These were the laundromats of the New World. Stolen cargo sailed in one side, legitimate merchandise sailed out the other. And the machine that made it all work was not a pirate at all. It was a governor holding a quill. For a fee, a colonial official could produce beautiful things. A privateering commission, backdated. A certificate swearing your cocoa was bought legally in Jamaica. In New York, Governor Benjamin Fletcher dined openly with the pirate Thomas Tew, while protection money quietly padded his accounts. With the right stamp on the right paper, stolen cargo simply stopped being stolen. Ink could do what no shovel ever could. It made loot vanish in plain sight. Everyone in the chain took a cut, of course. Merchants who fenced pirate goods paid pennies on the dollar. A cargo worth thousands of pounds in London might fetch a few hundred in Nassau. And the pirates took the deal gladly, because they were not really selling cargo. They were buying something priceless. Portability. Coins instead of cocoa. Wealth that fits in a pocket instead of a hold. And the smartest pirates went one step further. They got rid of the coins, too. The 1700s had no wire transfers, but they had something surprisingly close. The bill of exchange. A slip of paper signed by a merchant, promising that whoever held it could collect real money from that merchant's partners. In London, in Boston, in Amsterdam. Money that crossed the ocean without ever touching a ship. Weightless, discreet, and worth more than the hold beneath your feet. Whole merchant networks ran on this. Frederick Phillips, one of New York's richest men, grew part of his fortune supplying the pirate haven of Madagascar and quietly moving pirate wealth back home. Some captains slipped their shares into legitimate trade, ships, cargo ventures, land. The trail no longer led to a chest, it led to a ledger. And the ledger looked legal. So why did so few pirates die rich? Because being a criminal is expensive. Every friendly port expected a bribe. Harbor fees for men with no flag. Protection payments to officials who could hang you with a signature. The ship itself devoured money. New sails, fresh rigging, powder, shot, careening the hull. Surgeons and carpenters signed on only for premium shares. And crews burned through their cut with legendary speed. In Port Royal, some men could blow 2,000 or 3,000 pieces of 8 in a single night. Rum, dice, debts. Most pirates were not building fortunes. They were pouring loot through a very fast, very leaky machine. Even the greatest score of the age may have ended that way. Henry Every stole a fortune from a Mughal treasure fleet and vanished. Legend says the merchants who laundered his diamonds cheated him blind, and that the most successful pirate in history died a beggar. So where does the buried treasure legend come from? From a grain of truth twisted. Pirates did sometimes hide goods, not as retirement savings, as temporary storage, a cache on a quiet beach while you negotiated with a fence, contraband stashed until a naval patrol passed, or until prices were covered, or the heat died down. It was a warehouse, not a bank. You buried things you planned to dig up within weeks. Which brings us to the one famous exception, Captain William Kidd. In 1699, sailing home to face piracy charges, Kidd stopped at Gardiner's Island, near New York, and buried gold, silver, and silks. It was not a nest egg. It was leverage. Evidence he hoped to bargain with to save his own neck. It did not work. The governor's men dug it up within weeks, and the silver was paraded as evidence at his trial. Kidd was hanged in London in 1701. The only famous pirate who buried his treasure lost the treasure and then his life. That is the true story behind every X on every map. So why do you still believe in buried chests? Mostly because of a novel. In 1883, Robert Louis Stevenson published Treasure Island, a parchment map, a marked spot, a one-legged sea cook. Stevenson took Kidd's one strange story and turned it into the rule, and fiction quietly became memory. Meanwhile, history remembers the pirates who played the longer game, the ones who converted. Henry Morgan plundered Spanish ports for a decade. He was arrested and shipped to London in chains. He came back knighted, Sir Henry Morgan, Lieutenant Governor of Jamaica. He died in his bed, rich, owning sugar plantations across the island. Stolen silver converted into land, titles, and respectability. Around the colonies, the pattern repeated. Pirate silver flowed through merchants into wharves, warehouses, and city lots. In New York and Rhode Island, families who quietly bankrolled and fenced for pirates became founding names, carved into streets and manors that still stand. That is what treasure actually became, not a chest under the sand. Docks, ships, deeds, and family names. Because here is what every successful pirate understood. Wealth you must hide is not really wealth at all. A buried chest earns nothing. It only sits in the dark, waiting to be found by someone else. But wealth with the right paperwork, wealth wearing a legal name, can grow in the open, forever. The real treasure map was never drawn on parchment. It was written in ledgers, in invoices, in a governor's signature. And the X never marked a beach. It marked the moment stolen gold walked through a counting house door and came out clean. Pirates did not bury their treasure. They buried its past. And some of that money may still be out there, not under sand, circulating quietly, respectable and invisible, in the world all around you.